Look at these jokers and took a couple shots at each other. Let's see if I can show that to y'all where Captain Tazariak is saying that, it's easy way to spot a fake camp. They say Paul taught something wrong. That's it. That's the post. And then Priest Hakah is, hey man, you turned down the fade, but you want to debate everybody else, Edomites, low level individuals all day. But still love. And we were talking about earlier. It's okay to to agree to disagree, but I disagree with both of them, to be honest. And this came about because Priest Genesis Mode, did a documentary stating how incorrect Paul is, basically trying to tell us to throw away Paul's writings, epistles, based off the hypocrisy of him saying, or what he feels he's saying, of eating food sacrificed to idols, and then double talking and saying we shouldn't eat food sacrificed to idols. And we read that 2 Peter 3 all the time, where he's saying that, Paul's epistles, as other scriptures, are hard to understand. Can be hard to be understood. And brothers, and I asked Deacon Hakah, I asked him before he premiered this documentary that he wanted to put out, or that he put out, who's the audience? They didn't get to answering that, but they did address it. They was finna answer it, but some other stuff came about and it didn't get answered. But I'm only saying that, and I only stated that because, even Captain Tazariak and this brother, they think Paul went to two different audiences. Captain Tazariak feels he went to the Northern Kingdom. Priest Hakah feels like he went to the Southern Kingdom, but they were acting like Gentiles in a Gentile mind state. And so when this says Paul is an apostle to the Gentiles, they don't know what that means. So then you don't have the audience. If you don't know who the audience is, it's three options. If you don't have the audience, then that's off the rip. Foundationally, you off. It's gonna be tricky navigating this, and this has been the situation with One West Israelism from its start, and I'm not even gonna say that from its start. For a while, but I don't know. When I read Abba Bivens' book, he didn't say that. I don't think he was saying that at that initial. I don't think he was initially saying. I don't think that's in his book. But I had to look again. But I don't think that's. I'm not. Nothing's pinging is making me say that he was saying that. It's maybe something picked up later with Ariyah. But since then, and that might have happened in the late 80s, mid 80s, they've been teaching that. So they've been teaching that, close to 40, 50 years. That's how long they've been confused on Paul's epistles. The fact that it's an epistle. You can't read this epistle like you're reading Kings and Chronicles and Acts. And they're doing that also in Psalms. These are, and so you can't say, like, even the statement of he's double talking. You can't say he's double talking when it's a letter. It's one conversation. You're not reading something that, he came back years later and said it again, and and that could happen in another epistle. But you're reading something, and you're navigating this, and coming to this conclusion from one epistle, from one conversation. So you don't know the audience. You're reading the literature in a way that that's making you stumble, making you think that you're there and you're living this out and you're playing out and you're making this timeline. At one point he was saying, Deacon was saying that Acts 15, he was connecting to Acts 15 to the situation. And I was even thinking about that, like a lot of times the methodology that ex-Sicariites, you need a name for them. Because they just out here running. They just out here with no guidance, man. I don't know. Like, but the methodology that they'll use is Luke is not a witness. We don't know who wrote Hebrews. And they say certain things like this to discredit these books. So you already done discredited Luke. But he'll use Luke to say, hey, well, you know what? The council decided that that the Gentiles that are coming in should only abstain from blood, abstain from pollutions of idols. But again, who are these people? And why are they telling these people? Why are they giving these people like these different little statues? Why they ain't getting the same starter kit everybody else got to get? Why are they saying, hey, well, listen, just tell them this, that they need? Why did they just give them that? And some say, oh, that's the Israelite startup package, da 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 da. But again, audience, and why are they just telling them that? Why are they just giving them that? And man, it's a lot. It's a lot. And y'all willing, man, I'll speak on it. Maybe we'll go through it Wednesday. Maybe we'll do that Wednesday. We'll address the documentary Wednesday on is Paul a hypocrite, or what is Paul saying in 1 Corinthians 8, 9, 10? And that's what I'm saying. You got to deal with 8, 9, 10, 11, even some of the comparisons that Paul is making, with using communion. Also the aspect of, I can take donations, but I don't. I could have y'all paying for my living the way y'all paying for Peter's living, but I don't do that. I ain't gonna let y'all pay me nothing. But I can. I have the liberty to, but I'm not gonna do that. Him connecting these examples, and even the example of, unto the Jew I became a Jew, unto the Gentile became a Gentile. But man, if you got the Gentile mixed up, then you're gonna get trapped up. You're gonna get caught in a snare. Even the example too, I think in Acts 21 where he goes and he does the Nazareth vow. He didn't have to do that. Okay, he's at liberty. Christ died for our sins. There's liberty. I don't have to do that. That them sacrificing at that temple is absolutely trash at this point. And we have verses in the text where the Most High is telling you, I don't want that trash no more, man. Obedience better than sacrifice. And we still have brothers. Matter of fact, both of these brothers will tell you that if the temple was there today, that they would still be sacrificing. What are you sacrificing? You'll still be sacrificing for sin? You still be sacrificing for sin? And what if yeah. And so I can come in, I can say, well, that's absolutely nothing, man. That sin, though, you sacrificing and doing that is, hey, y'all do that, but my atonement is through Christ. I understand that. And I have this knowledge. And really, I'm just giving you examples. I'm just giving you examples of some of the stuff that he's saying. But we'll talk about it more in depth on Wednesday, y'all willing.